Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay, we got a story, and I've got Patty. I'm going to spill some Patty because first I've got to go back a little bit and first I got to use my manners. And also remind you guys, like while you're listening to this, if I'm spilling tea that's worth it for you, please like, comment, and subscribe. I tell real life stories. I show receipts of current events, crime, and just relatable types of situations. And I keep saying I'm going to get back to Reddit stories, and I just screenshotted some good material, but you know what? It is what it is. My channel is as sloppy and as messy as my life, and it is a complete mess right now. A complete mess. So, anyways, okay. This is a current event type of issue because, recently there has been a pilot. Oops, well, no, this pilot meant the police, but yeah. Well, some of the staff and or passengers and everything, they smelt the odor of alcohol on a pilot's breath right before he was about to start work, right? Start his shift, fly people into the air. You know where the birds go. Yeah, same place, same air, Yeah. And mentally, where some people, once they smoke for 20, yeah, it's like sometimes they feel like, yeah, same place. Uh-huh. Well, but yeah, it's different when you have everyday civilians, but when it's a pilot, yeah, when it's a pilot getting intoxicated off of liquor or 420 or whatever substance, that's a no-no. That's a no-no. And I think that's in their contract and you know what, I'm probably going to do a part two, and I'm going to get real petty, and I'm going to see if I can look up some of their, if I get to it. Like I said, my life's messy right now, and I need to finally finish this novel. Yeah, my goals. Anyway. But yeah, so they had to get the police and walk him off the plane, and yeah, I guess part of me is just wondering how embarrassing was it having to was he handcuffed on the plane? And what was his co-pilot's face? What did the co-pilot look like? And you'll find out why I'm saying this in a minute. What were the passengers' reactions? Where were they flying to? That's probably in the story, but I read it days ago, so I forgot. But but the thing is, and oh yes, almost everything on here is the evidence. You can click on it because yes, for some reason, all my life, people don't believe black women. Especially, I don't know why, but whenever black women give our points of view, when we talk about sexism, racism, well, for me, ableism and everything like that, people don't believe us. Or when we try to show the proof, they think we're exaggerating, or people think that we're overstating, or that our views are just oh, she just wants to talk about racism. When are they going to get over it? When it's not that big of a deal, it doesn't exist. When are they going to get over ableism? It's like, you guys have wheelchair ramps now, or you guys have braille, you guys have it, and it's just and so this is kind of a river of racism episode 2. Yeah, you know what, actually it is a river of racism. So in the subjects, if you can do the emoji of one of your favorite fish or fishing or whatever, because this is a racism type of subject, and we're swimming all in it and everything. Just don't be a catfish. Don't be a catfish. It's anyway. Actually, what wine if I was gonna drink wine with catfish, what type? And yeah, I'm off subject, but yeah, I'm working on another catfish episode too right now. Yeah, like I said, I'm messy. I'm messy. But okay, I'm saying all of that except for the catfish part because remember about a year ago, Charlie Kirk, that in my opinion, that no good bigoted jerk who he's just a bigot in my opinion, just a downright vile, ugly, disgusting bigot. Yeah, he's proven it so many times, but I thought it was really amusing with this story because like he had this racist comment to say about black pilots. Like basically if he was on a plane and he saw a black pilot get on the plane, he's going to get worried. He's going to be wondering if he's qualified, if he can do the job, if he's capable and qualified and things like that. And it's like a lot of bigots like him think this way. A lot of bigots think, like especially they think that black people as a whole, especially black women, but black people as a whole, they don't think much of us. They always think that we are the ones they can't rely on, that we are the ones that's not going to be like ready for work. Even though in so many areas, when we apply for a job, normally we're ready like 2, 5, 10 times fold. Like my issue with finding a lot of jobs is that companies kept saying I was overqualified, but then it's like sometimes they would want me because I'm overqualified, but then when I walk in, a disability or surprise, I'm black. Yeah. So it's like, and I said the story before about how some companies literally canceled the interview after, like, 'cause I would do the phone interview and then I would get a notification on my cell phone that ironically the same exact person, coincidentally, just looked at my LinkedIn profile, which has my picture. And like one of them specifically, like 1 or 2 hours later, they called me up saying the interview was canceled. And it's just like, and some people are like, oh, well, maybe they saw your interview or your resume and the resume, and I was like, no, same resume. They got the same resume as my LinkedIn. And it's like sometimes people try to make up different scenarios and situations. It's like, okay, honey, boo boo, you have the privilege of not knowing racism. And with Charlie Kirk, he has proven how racist he is, in my opinion. And I'm bothered that I have to say this, even though there is so much evidence of how bigoted he is. But in my opinion, he is just an outright no good bigot. And if you have been looking at the screen, I share my receipts because I made sure to find an article so that you guys can see what the pilot looked like that got escorted off that plane. Sure did. And if you don't know, just know, yeah, this pilot didn't really have any pigment. He was a European American. He was white. This is a white pilot that they had to escort off the plane because he was drinking a little bit too much alcohol in his system. Well, it's like you shouldn't be drinking at all and everything, but some people blame it on the mouthwash, some people blame it on some other stuff, but yeah, that wasn't the case with this one. But yeah, he had no melanin in him. He had no seasoning up in his culture, no. He was basic salt and pepper. Basic seasoning. Yeah, that's it. And so part of me wonders if Charlie Cook was on that plane. Yeah, I almost said Cook. Yeah, I guess I'm hungry, but anyway. It's like he would have just been like, oh, we have a qualified pilot because he's European American. Because he's European American, of course he's great, of course he's good, of course he's qualified. Didn't know he was probably an alcoholic. Yeah, no. So it's like his life could have been in danger. But of course, he's not going to believe it. Of course, he's not going to care because the pilot looked the way that he wanted him to look, male and European, male and no melanin. So many times. That's one reason why. And I know, like, yeah, like I said, my life is messy. Like with, like, Mrs. Obama not going to like the inaugural and everything like that. I applaud her because America keeps looking down at us, especially as like a race, as a culture, and everything like that. They don't think much of us. They don't think we're talented enough, bright enough, like we put enough work ethic, even though we built this country and we were forced to do it for free. It's like in our lives, like my ancestors' lives depended on it. And then it's like, don't forget about Black Wall Street, Jim Crow laws, and everything like that. They want to forget about it, and they want to make sure future generations don't learn about it because they're trying to whitewash and they're trying to blame a lot of this stuff onto Black people, even though they are the ones who entrapped us into some of the falsehoods and some of the like craziness within this country. But that's a different story for a different day. But it's just crazy how some people, especially unseasoned European Americans, they always get looked at as they must be qualified, they must be good enough, they must be like the top, or they must basically get the job. I have had students who, like especially my unseasoned students who, oh, my parents already got a job for me, or they already know A, B, and C who's just gonna give me the job. And I had one student who literally told me about some racism, but they were gonna get the job, like they were the privileged. So because they were even saying how the owner of the company wanted to make sure there they were not going to hire a person of color in that spot. So that's one reason why their father told them, take these classes and you'll be able to get the job. And that's how they got the job. It's like because the owner wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be a person of color. And this one student was one of, like, let's just say really lazy, really lazy. But they didn't, yeah, I mean, who cares? As long as they look the part. As long as they look the part, right? And oh, and this student knows they're lazy. They bragged about being lazy. They bragged about it. So no one needs to come and tell me that I'm being mean when it's like students. A lot of the students know, and some of them are proud of it. I'm going to be doing another talk and conversation soon about TikTok. Yeah. The irony, like, but back to the racism side. It's kind of insulting that so many times I have applied for jobs, and even times when I have faced racism, and when I tell people or something, like back to my classes, sometimes like I want students to know that there is still racism out there. So sometimes I tell them an example. And I had one of my nightmare students who, I mean, he called me Professor Cripple. He would call me out my name, and it's like I never wanted him to feel like he was superior over me. I always wanted, like, sometimes he would just look at me while he whispered it or said it with like just a smirk. And I think he got mad or angry because I did not stop the class. It's like there was one time when I did, because he said it loud enough so this and it was a racist comment, so the students in front of him heard what he said, and after the class, the students came to ask me if he was racist, and I said I didn't know, I wasn't sure, I wasn't for sure, but I was like, I did hear him say some racism type of comments, but I said I don't know for sure. And with being an adjunct professor, people look at me like being a woman, being black, and having a disability. They always think I must not know what I'm talking about. And I just stated this in another episode, but just because of how I look, people think I can't handle the job or I can't do the job or I don't know what I'm talking about. But look at what's happening at TikTok. Yeah, I've had students literally say that I was stupid when I wanted to talk and analyze and like break down what was, because if some people are like, what's this have to do with marketing? A lot of companies market and advertise on TikTok. And so looking at like, and so many people don't understand marketing and advertising. Like it goes even into the accounting of a business, the management of a business, the finance of a business, and also the legal parts of a business. The planning is like you have to like with marketing and advertising, planning about which social medias, what kind of content, your hashtags, and everything like that. But also, if one of these social media networks shuts down, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? And if that was your main, I hope you had backup and students would keep like, so yeah, I need to say that for another episode, but now at least you got the sneak peek because working a job and working at a job where even the staff keeps questioning you or looking at you thinking that, oh, you must not be able to do the job or whatever. And but then it's amazing because I have students who is like some students who they take my advice and all of the information, like I give them so much information. I over bombard them on purpose because not all students are going to market the same way. A lot of students are going to need different resources. Some students are going to be good at some things and not good at another. But then if I teach them how to look, like what things to look for when they team up or hire somebody, which is like one of my students did just that because they were terrible at some components, but they were great at others. And now these two students have started their own business. And with TikTok, they they used it, but they also use two other ones, or actually no, three other ones, because they split it. So yeah, now one of them might. It's like they're probably gonna bring TikTok. I'll talk about that in another episode. But I say all of this because I always try to come ready for class. I always try to come ready for work. But just like the pilot, a black pilot, people always look at me. People always wonder, can she do the job? Is she qualified? How does she get the job? Oh, it must be only DEI. Oh, she must not be able to do this or that or whatever. It's like, am I or is my child getting the education that they should be getting when it's like, honey boo boo, you don't like when I come to like to teach, I come to teach. And it's like I play hard out in like the streets of the classroom. Like the examples and the video, like in the and it's just frustrating how if I was a white teacher, I wouldn't be looked at the same. And there's professors who, like, I guess I look younger, which is a blessing, but I think I get it from my grandmother on my dad's side, but there have been professors, like, while I'm getting ready for my class, there are unseasoned professors, European American professors, who come by and they see me at my computer setting up, and they ask me, "What am I doing in the classroom?" And I'm like, "I'm getting ready for class." And then they're like, "Well, you should be sitting at one of the desks." And, I mean, this happened more than once. And one of the times I'm just like, "Are you sure?" And, like, oh, he got mad at me too. And he was like, "Ma'am, if you do not get your stuff," and he's like, "I'm gonna need your name." And I was like, "You're gonna need my name for what?" And they went all the way back to get security. And so when they came back and got security, and security came to my classroom, and security started laughing. And he was like, "Hi, professor, how are you?" That no good, unseasoned professor looked at me in shock. She's a professor? How long has she's a professor? So far, I think it was 3 or 4 years at that point. But yeah, yeah. So, it's just crazy how people never doubt the unseasoned European Americans, but then when you're a person of color, it's like they doubt you just because of how you look, just because of the color of your skin. And I think it's just ironic now because, like, with the whole TikTok situation too, and I mean, there's other things or whatever, but every day people look at me like I don't belong, that I don't deserve. And when people look at my resume even, it's like I had another university where I got the job and everything, but it was like when they saw me face to face because the interview was virtual or whatever, they were just kind of in shock, and they even wanted to know more about my education. And I was just like, what you literally got a what do you call it when with when you get the grade, you have to have the grades mailed, sealed, and everything, like whatever, like, yeah, my mind is like, I need to finish up 2 chapters today for the novel or whatever, so my mind is kind of everywhere. But I was like, "You guys got that from both schools." I think I only needed it from one, but just in case, I got it from both of the schools I got my master's from. And yeah, because I had double masters, and I think that's another, like, some people really have a big issue with that. Oh, well, too bad, their problem, but when I saw this story and then I saw the pilot, it aggravated me a little bit because it's just like with my ex's mom, the first thing she said was the only reason you got into college is because you're black. And like when I talk and meet or introduce myself to some people, it's like they just look, and even dating, there have been some men, black and white, who say, "Do you think you're smart enough?" Like when I say that I'm going to be starting my own business or writing my own books, novels, and everything, a lot of times they're like, "Oh well, you're not smart enough." And I've even had black men say, "We're not smart enough." And I'm just like, "Okay, boo boo baby, like, did your mommy tell you this? Did your daddy, like, okay, I've been through a lot of mental trauma, but yeah, my father said I wasn't smart enough to be a lawyer." But and yeah, it's still, yeah, but at the same time, I'm hmm, like, I'm stubborn. I'm bullheaded. Like, and I guess that's one reason I have to be thankful, because being a black woman with a disability, all of the hardship, all of the pain that was placed upon me, now I use as arsenal. I have my low days, but all of that made me strong enough so that when people try to come up to me and ask me, so you're a professor? So you're an author? So you're a writer? So you're this, or whatever? I can say yes. Or when people say, so how did you get this? Who helped you with this? Because people still try to ask me who helped you with your novel idea. I'm like, what? But when I say I did myself, oh, right, yeah, sure. Like they doubt me with that, and I'm just like, honey boo boo, please. You don't know me. I've always had the imagination. So I find like I'm usually like even with my students, I'm usually giving them the ideas. Is that's why like in my classrooms I try to do creativity exercises because some of these students were so stuck on their cell phones and laptops and like tablets for all their childhood. They don't know how to play pretend. They don't know how to be creative and think outside the box. They don't know, but then they don't know me. And so sometimes students ask me, why are you teaching me this? Because sometimes when you're at a job and you have to figure out how to solve a problem, sometimes you got to be creative. Sometimes you got to act like MacGyver. But it takes creativity. It's like you can't, like like you can Google it, yeah, but that might not solve it. That might not solve it. So anyway, I'm gonna stop there, but looking at the story, it just kept making me remember what Charlie Cook said. And all of the times people have looked at me and told me that I don't know what I'm doing. I can't know what I'm doing. I can't be smart enough. I can't do this. I can't do that. And everything based off of my skin color. And then on top of skin color, I'm female with a disability. So I get it threefold. When I go into a job, people, like even at job interviews, I've had people say, well, I would love to give you the job, but clients are going to think your walking is a distraction. Your walking's going to distract us. Or our elevator will always malfunction. And it's, but then I keep seeing unseasoned European American people get either raises or promotions and things like that. And they don't deserve the job, but people think they automatically deserve it because. But then they like when black women get a job, they always say it's because of DEI. Listen to 45. Listen to all of these Republicans. Every time a black woman, including Supreme Court justice and everything, whenever we finally get something we have worked so hard on and we have the grades to back it up, but you have 45 threats to sue if they show his grades. Think about that. Think about that. They look up all these black women's grades and they're amazing, marvelous, and everything like that. They go over and beyond and everything like that. But when 45, an unseasoned European American, like millionaire, like, yeah, he says he's gonna sue if you look at his grades. Think about that. Who's overqualified now? Who's underqualified? We know who's underqualified. We know who shouldn't get the job or who should not have gotten the job, but they got the job because of how he looks. He got the job because a lot of Americans think that is what America is supposed to look like. But anyways, this is the Handicapable Black Woman. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human. You're human too. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Since this is a river of racism, please, some fishing or some fish emojis in the messages, or tell me an example of your racism that you have encountered. Or if you're racist, boo, bye. I don't have time for that. Oh, and it's transcripts. Like as soon as I finished, And I went and fixed some more lemon water. I'm like, oh yeah, the magic word for the day is transcripts. Okay, goodbye. Bye. Or, oh, put transcripts in the messages if you listened this far. Thanks.